I have my notes, so I hopefully don't go on a really long tangent. And I also have to kind of keep my voice down because my husband is on overnights right now, so he's sleeping. But today, today exactly is my 2-year surgery anniversary. And so I'm just going to kind of talk about that, where I'm at. I have several videos about the process that I'm just going to kind of lump into one here and talk about that. So on October 18th of 2015, I had my gastric sleeve surgery. Basically, gastric sleeve, this is not at all medical terminology, but basically they take your stomach and they cut it into a little like banana shaped pouch. Um, and it is not at all permanent in the sense that if you don't eat healthy and follow what you're supposed to be doing, you can stretch that stomach back out again. So gastric sleeve is what I had. It's one of the many choices of bariatric surgery that you can get. I had that done, like I said, on October 18th of 2015. My highest weight was 330 pounds. That's the weight that I was when I started the program. And when I say the program, per my insurance, I had to have 6 months of nutritional counseling. I had to have a psychiatric clearance. I had to have some EKGs done, some chest x-rays, lots of lab work, an endoscope, and then all of that got submitted to insurance, and then insurance was like yes or no. So when I started the process, I believe it was in December of 2014. I mean, that had to be it. I don't really remember what date I started the process on. I was 330 pounds. That is my highest weight. The day of the surgery, on October 18th, 2015, I was 307 pounds. So the day of the surgery, we checked in at about 6:30 in the morning, put on my compression socks, my traction socks. I had some IV antibiotics, and they put an ear patch on for nausea. Now, I'm summing up a video that I posted called my bariatric surgery story. I'm going to try to remember to link all the different videos down below in case you wanted to watch them individually, but I'm pretty much covering just about everything in each video without rambling as long as I do in them. So we checked in at 6:30. They got me all ready. Surgery was scheduled for 8 a.m. Now, my hemoglobin was at a 10, and the surgeon came in and said if you were even at a 9, we would have to cancel the surgery. Like, you are the very lowest that you can be at here. We have blood ready for you in case you need to have a transfusion. Thankfully, I didn't need to have a transfusion. I even, which I think is kind of funny, walked into the operating room. In my experience with other surgeries, I've always been wheeled in, but I got to walk into the operating room, which was kind of exciting. I was in the recovery room for 2 hours afterwards. There's 2 very quick videos on my channel of me coming out of the recovery room and then showing my incisions, and those initially were not going to be uploaded onto YouTube. Those were just like Facebook videos that my now husband sent to my family because my family is out of state, but I decided to upload those and share them. So that first day of surgery, like I said, October 18th, that was on a Tuesday. Of course, there was nothing by mouth that day. I had a sponge that I could use to wet my lips because they were very chapped, but other than that, there was nothing by mouth that first day. They had me up and walking that night, kind of doing laps around the floor. On the 19th, which was a Wednesday, they did an upper GI x-ray in the morning. Once that came back good, it cleared me to have some sugar-free Jell-O, some water, and some broth. And in the bariatric surgery story video, I kind of talk about how my stomach reacted to those. It was very interesting. I did need some oxygen because my heart rate, I needed oxygen, and then my heart rate was also dropping below 50 anytime I would fall asleep. They found out that it was kind of, the heart rate at least, was kind of attached to the nausea patch that was behind my ear. The nausea patch is generally good for 72 hours, but for some reason for me it was causing some adverse reactions. So once I removed that patch, I didn't have any issue with my heart rate. My oxygen, of course, was still an issue because at that time I had sleep apnea. My blood sugar was also of a concern for them. I've never been diagnosed diabetic, but my blood sugar got up to 254 at one point. So they were a little bit concerned about that. It is somewhat normal to have high blood sugar after surgery, but apparently it was alarming to them to have it at 254. On Thursday the 20th, so just a little over 2 days in the hospital, I was discharged around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. November 8th, I returned to work. It was only for well, let me just back up a little bit here. So, when I checked into the hospital the day of the surgery, I was 307 pounds. When I checked out, they weighed me, and I was 316 pounds. So I'd gained quite a bit of weight. They explained to me that that was from, this floor is a little bit more uncomfortable than I thought it was going to be. They explained to me that that was from the gases and all the fluids that they put into my body during that time. So when I left the hospital the day of the surgery, I was 316 pounds. So November 8th of 2015, I returned to work. I worked at a call center at that time. I was only there for about like a week. We can have maybe even 2 weeks before I started getting sick. On November 30th, I had lost about 47.6 pounds, according to what I said in my recovery complications video, which is now what we're going to get into. So I lost almost 50 pounds in about a month. And that was probably mostly because I had gone 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks, without being able to hold down any food or water or take any of my vitamins or medications. What had happened was my stomach itself, not the incisions, but my stomach itself, didn't heal at the rate that it was supposed to. And so as I was introducing new foods, my stomach was becoming inflamed and more inflamed and more inflamed, to the point where it was just rejecting everything. And so on November 30th, I had a PICC line put in. At the time, it was just for saline. I was going to be nothing by mouth for a week, and I gave myself 2 liters of saline a day. After a week, I still was not able to hold anything down, and so what they did was they introduced TPN. I'm not really sure, don't really remember what that stands for, but it's basically nutrition, in the sense of it's the vitamins that you would get from food. So I was on that until January 6th. So on Thanksgiving and Christmas, I didn't get to partake in any of the food, but I still prepared the food because that's just who I am. So now we're moving into a video that I titled A Long-Awaited Update, where I said that the PICC line was removed in January 6th. So from November 30th to January 6th, I was on that PICC line, saline and TPN, and I felt generally better, but it was not a very fun experience at all. I was also out of work during that time, the entire time. Mostly for safety reasons. Having a PICC line can be very dangerous, and so I was kept out of work during that time. So on June 8th, that was the last update that I did here. I had lost a total of 93 pounds. Actually, I don't think that was the last update. I lied. So June 8th of it must have been 2018, maybe. I lost a total of 93 pounds, and on May 6th, I had my gallbladder removed. So this was 2016. June 8th of 2016. I had a total of about 15 stones measuring about 1 centimeter each. It was badly inflamed. I was in a lot of pain. Having a bariatric surgery, there's a lot of cases where it's not uncommon for you to then, not shortly after your surgery, have your gallbladder removed. I'm not sure if it would have happened if I didn't have the surgery, I don't know. I'd never really had any problems that I know of before. Um, so July 3rd, 2018 is the last update that I did. Um, that video was titled Gastric Sleeve Update 19 Months Post-Op. That video, I said that I lost 102 pounds since surgery. So where are we since then? It's almost 4 months later. Not really almost, no, just a little over 3 months after that, right? Yeah, just a little over 3 months after that, and I haven't lost much more weight. I've lost a total of 109 pounds. I have not at all, 0% been doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I was eating fast food. I was overeating, not drinking water, not taking my vitamins, not exercising, drinking soda, drinking out of a straw, carbonation, anything that you are told you cannot do, I was doing. So I kind of stalled for a long period of time. I just maintained. And then I started gaining back. And when I started gaining back the weight, not a sense of gaining back, I didn't obviously gain back the 109 pounds that 102 pounds that I've lost so far. 109? 109. I'm at 109 pounds today. I didn't gain back 109 pounds, but when I started gaining it must have been about 10 pounds, because the minute I started to get below that 100 pounds, I was like, this has to stop now. So I've been eating healthier. I've been using my FitnessPal to track my food intake and my water. I'm haven't had fast food. I'm not drinking like the sugared coffees anymore. I tried to go and work out, but there was some issues with that. There's nothing stopping me from going and walking outside besides myself, but I haven't really started working out yet. But yeah, that's where I'm at as of now, is I've just, like, in the last week really buckled down and said we have to get back on track here. And I've done really well with that. So I started out in size 26 pants. Now I'm between a 22 and a 24, depending on the style. I started out in 2XL shirts, and I wear between a large and an extra large. My sleep apnea is gone. I'm off of all medication pretty much. All medication that I was on before. I got engaged in July of 2017. I got married in June of this year, and was in a size 16 dress. I mean, crazy to me. I haven't really had any, well, not even really, I haven't had any problems with rashes or yeast infections that are really common after the surgery due to the loose skin. I'm thankful for that. I've switched careers. I'm working my dream job. If you would have asked, 6, 7, 8-year-old me, where do you want to work? She would have told you in a library, and that's exactly where I work now. I've returned to school. I'm a paralegal student. We have decided that possibly in March, we want to start trying to have a family, like more kids. We have a family now, but have more kids, expand our family. So it's been good. I do want to touch just for a moment and not go into too much detail about it, about transfer addiction. During the whole process, they tell you transfer addiction is something you really have to be aware of. You are a food addict. I was a food addict. And when we take away the ability for you to be a food addict, because essentially your stomach can hold like 1 cup of food at a time. And if you eat 1 cup of food, you're usually in a lot of pain. So when you can't feed that addiction, there's a transfer addiction that comes in. A lot of people become alcoholics. There can be some drug abuse, things of that nature. And it is a very real thing. I have never liked being drunk. I've never liked how the feeling of opiates made me feel. But there was a point where after the surgery, you know, with the surgery pain medication and then the gallbladder surgery pain medication, where I was really falling down a slippery slope. And thankfully, I'm surrounded by a lot of people that keep me in check and care about me and hold me accountable, to where I was able to catch it before it got out of control and kind of reel it in. And I'm very thankful for that. But food addiction is very mental. Addictions of any kind are very mental. And even though you may tell yourself, there's no way that I would become addicted to opiates, there's no way that I would become an alcoholic. When you're not feeding your brain that addiction and you have a glass of wine with dinner, you know, it's going to transfer. That addiction will transfer. And especially with alcohol, it's very dangerous after bariatric surgery, because your stomach is very small. And although the drunk passes quickly, or at least it does for me, it doesn't take much for me to get there. I cannot go out to dinner and have a glass of wine and drive home. I am drunk. And so, especially after bariatric surgery, it's very easy for that transfer addiction to turn into alcoholism. In my situation, it really wasn't so much alcoholism. I drank more than I had before in my life, and was drunk more often. But for me, my problem was mostly the opiates, and it's a very real, very raw, very honest thing, and I don't want to go into too much detail about it. But if you are thinking about having the surgery, or if you have had the surgery, or a loved one has had the surgery, it's very important to watch for the transfer addictions, because an addiction is something that you have to fight every day. And if you no longer really have the ability to feed one addiction, that mentality is going to transfer to something else. And just like with myself and food addiction, it took me many years before I finally admitted that there was a problem, and by that point it was out of control. And it's very similar, or it can be very similar with other addictions for that to happen as well. So be aware of transfer addiction. I paid attention. I didn't want to say I laughed about it, but I paid attention, but I was all like, there's no way that this will affect me. And it did. Minor, but it did. And so I just want everybody to be aware of that. And yeah, I still rambled way too long. So I will try to link down below the videos that I referenced in here, but things are going well. I meet with my surgeon in November for the 2-year follow-up. I'm excited for that. I'm down 109 pounds and chugging. Most of the health problems are gone. I'm happily married. Things are great. I'm really thankful for what I call the second chance at life. It's been an amazing journey. So, thank you guys. Bye.